this will help with your pain versus like this is just going to get you high and giggly. Today we're going to talk about how to find the right strain for you. A lot of people shop on THC percentage, they shop on just sativa or indica, but there's a lot more nuance that goes into picking the right strain, and today we're going to dive into all of that. Starting off, we have what they call the entourage effect. The entourage effect kind of defeats the purpose of searching for weed that is just high THC percentage. And another fun fact is all the THC percentages can be off by 10%, at least in the Michigan market. If you read the label, it said the testing can vary by 10%. So if you're getting something that is 25%, it could be 15%, could be 35%. So it's almost a completely irrelevant number to go off of in the first place. The entourage effect is the combined effect of not only THC, but other cannabinoids such as CBD, CBN, CBC, CBG, all those things. And then also terpenes like linalool, myrcene, limonene, pinene, all of these that play into the high. When you have aromatherapy with something like lavender, it's essentially doing the same thing. Essential oils are very similar to terpenes in the sense that they give you a desired effect. They oftentimes are associated with a certain scent or flavor, and you will start to notice that if you pay more attention to it when you're buying strains. And with that being said, I think it's important for all people to find the terpene profile that they enjoy the most and what works for them the best. And there is a difference when I say enjoy the most versus works the best for them. There are certain flavor profiles that I like the taste of more so, but prefer the effects of others a little bit more, if that makes sense. With all that being said, my favorite family of terps is like the Sherby family. Permanent Marker is my all-time favorite strain, but I love RS11, I love Zope, I love everything kind of in that family. I like the high that it gives me. So when I go into a dispensary, I lean heavy towards those types of strains because I know those are going to be a hit for me, especially if it's something new that I see and it's like a fun cross. I'm like, oh, how is this going to differ from what I've already tried? It might give me an experience that I haven't gotten yet. So that is always fun to look for. I'm a variety smoker, so I do like to step out of what I'm used to. But like I said, when I can find something that's an offshoot of something that I really like, that makes things really interesting. That's why Seed Junkie appeals to me so much, because he does a lot of Sherby strains, he does a lot of stuff with Skittles, and those are strains that I really, really enjoy. With that being said, we get back to that sativa indica debate, and yes, there are strains that will give you a certain feeling, like a sativa feeling, like Jack Herrera has that pinene, which leads to that uplifting feeling. And a lot of times I believe that the terpenes are more responsible than anything else for that effect. So once you find that terpene profile of what you're looking for, it kind of translates into that effect. So yeah, pinene is going to be one that gives you that uppity feeling. Limonene typically will do that, but I have had a few lemon strains like Lemon Tree definitely gets me super high and stoned and not really wanting to do much. So I would avoid Lemon Tree, but a lot of lemon strains are going to be like more sativa based or give you that more uplifting feeling if that's what you're looking for. Permanent Marker is always labeled as an indica, but for me it's much more of a just like creative, relaxing feeling. Kind of allows me to lock in on whatever I'm doing. Same thing with RS11, even though it's like a little bit lighter of a high in my opinion. And then we have stuff like Runts, which is one of the most popular things out there right now, but I would say it doesn't really give me that high typically. I've had a few gassier Runts that have gotten me super high, and you know, you can't always expect the experience to be the same, especially when there's so many crosses of something, which is what I was saying earlier, and it's fun to explore all of those crosses, but yeah, you can't always expect the same thing, especially when you're trying something that is an offshoot. I have had a few candy strains that have gotten me absolutely stuck, which is awesome. Like, I love that, but it's just super rare to find. And then there's straight up some terpene profiles that I just don't really like. Like, I'm not a huge fan of minty strains, so I typically stay away from those. Cakey strains are just alright, not really the biggest fan of those either, so a lot of times I do stray away from those, which, you know, sometimes I need to give stuff more of a shot, but when you're buying weed and there's so many options, it's kind of hard to not go with something similar to what you already know or like. And I do have good experiences typically doing that. So that's what I'm recommending in this video, is find terpene profiles, find families of strains that you like, learn a little bit more about genetics and terpene profiles, and see how that works versus buying just on THC percentage and just versus sativa and indica, because those aren't great ways to be purchasing weed. There's a lot of stuff that you're missing out on, and there's a lot of stuff that we don't really know about. I feel like in like 10 years we'll have all this information that was not available to us at this point, just because so much testing will be able to be done. So we'll have a lot more information to go off of as far as that stuff goes. It's cool that brands are starting to put terpene testing on their products and like what terpenes are in there. I feel like that's really beneficial for the consumer and also for people like myself who are bud tenders who are selling these products. It's really nice to be able to tell a customer, hey, this will help with your pain versus like this is just going to get you high and giggly, because people come in looking for all sorts of different stuff. Some people will be like, oh, I have arthritis, which you can find certain cannabinoids that are good for anti-inflammatory types of pain. So that is always good if you can find a strain that's high in that. So that testing is really valuable, and I hope becomes more accessible because it's more important than THC percentages. Ask your bud tender. Hopefully you have one who is well educated, and if not, hopefully they can just do a little research there for you. They always have a computer, so they should be able to do some research. A lot of people come in asking for strains for pain. Typically those are going to be like heavier indica strains like myrcene. Some of those terpenes are going to help with pain and just relaxation overall. But do your research if you're a consumer. Look up like what strains are good for pain, and a lot of them might be like older strains, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. Try to find people who are publishing articles that are relatively new, or just seem that they're like more tapped in with the current market, because a lot of times you'll see like creative strains and it'll be like Blue Dream. No one really sells Blue Dream flower anymore. It just doesn't really exist, or it's super hard to find. So you can find whatever type of strain you're looking for, whatever desired effect you're looking for. Just don't go off of THC percentage and sativa versus indica when there's so much more that you can learn about and can make your experience so much better. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit in this video. If you have any questions about how I buy strains or just about strains in general, let me know down below and I will answer it to the best of my ability. Your homework is to let me know what your favorite terpene profile is. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching.